I'm going to go ahead and call our meeting to order at 6 o'clock on dot. And first on the agenda is public testimony for closed session items. Is there any public testimony on closed session items? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into a recess for closed session. ahead and start in a minute or so here. We're going to wait for our other. Into open session. Ms. Mayfield, can we conduct a roll call?
Absolutely. President Aguilar,
Present?
Vice President Oshinsky, Board Clerk Tate,
Present.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Present.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Sheridan,
Present.
Trustee Toledo,
Present.
Student Board Member Jonathan Martin.
Present.
All board members present.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Mayfield. Okay, moving into a report on closed session action. First, we have two action items to move in public. First is action item A to accept EO1 recommendation for stipulated suspended expulsion. Trustees? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'd like to move that.
I'll second it.
Perfect. It's been moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. And let's go ahead and take a vote. Perfect. That is 7-0. Closed session. Okay, moving into action item B, accept EO2 recommendation for stipulated suspended expulsion. Trustees?
Sorry, we're figuring out a mic situation. There's
Oh, no
one missing.
problem.
There's a mic missing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which one?
I'll make a motion to approve that item.
I'll second that.
okay. It's been moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Sheridan. Okay, whose mic is missing? Is that trustee Paul? Oh, trustee Oshinsky. Okay, I'll make a note.
Nope, it works.
All right, great. Let's go ahead and take a vote. Okay, perfect. That's 7-0. Thank you, trustees. And next on that, on a report out from closed session, first to appoint Anna Malke-Koch to the position of principal at Garfield Elementary School by a 7-0 vote. The item was moved by trustee Gonzalez and seconded by trustee Sheridan. Next, to appoint Natalie Valencia to the position of principal at Jefferson Elementary School by a 7-0 vote. The item was moved by trustee Toledo and seconded by trustee Tate. Next, to appoint Lorena Montoya to the position of vice principal at Wilson Elementary School by a 7-0 vote. The item was moved by trustee Gonzalez and seconded by trustee Prola. Next, to appoint Dylan Charan to the position of vice principal at John Muir Middle School by a 7-0 vote. The item was moved by trustee Sheridan and seconded by trustee Oshinsky. Next, to appoint Marcel Jacob to the position of vice principal at John Muir Middle School by a 7-0 vote. The item was moved by trustee Tate and seconded by trustee Toledo. The board has directed the superintendent and designees to deliver the appropriate and proper notifications to the effective parties. Okay, moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Oshinsky, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, next is the mission statement. Trustee Martin, would you like to read the mission statement tonight?
Mission statement.
The mission of San Leandro Unified School District is to educate students to achieve academic excellence in order to become confident, collaborative, and engaged citizens in a community rich in heritage and diverse in culture, where we value our traditions and embrace innovation.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Next up is the equity statement. Trustee Toledo, would you read us the equity statement?
The Board of Trustees believes that the diversity that exists among the district's community of students, staff, parents, guardians, and community members are integral to the district's vision, mission, and goals. Addressing the needs of the most marginalized learners requires recognition of the inherent value of diversity and acknowledgement that educational excellence requires a commitment to equity in the opportunities provided to students and the resulting outcomes.
Great, thank you. All right, item 6, the approval of the agenda.
I'll move the agenda.
I'll second it.
Perfect. It's been moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Please vote. All right, perfect. That would be 7 + 1. Moving on to the legal statement for tonight. Members of the audience who wish to address the board are asked to complete the yellow card available at the entrance example and submit it to the board's administrative assistant, Ms. Michelle Mayfield. Speakers who have completed the card will be called when the item is reached on the agenda or for non-agenda items during the public testimony. Cards are to be turned in before the item is reached on the agenda. Please note that during the meeting, the meeting is being recorded. State law prohibits the Board of Education from taking any action on or discussing items that are not on the posted agenda, except to A, briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public in attendance, B, ask questions for clarification, C, provide a reference to staff members or other resource for factual information in response to the inquiry, or D, ask a staff member to report back on the matter at the next meeting and or put it on a future agenda. Government Code 54954.2A. And so then moving on to public testimony on non-agenda items. First, we did have a comment that was sent in by a member of the public. And of course, as per tradition, we must read that out loud. Okay, so first comment that came in via email from Sun and Cassie Ayane. Hello, our son attends Davis Street Preschool at the Jefferson Elementary campus. The exterior of the building is in desperate need of repainting and wood rot repair. We are attaching pictures. As warm weather approaches, the children will be outside most of the day. But given the peeling paint, we are very afraid that our son and our children will pick at the paint from the siding, which is highly likely given that it extends from eye level of the children to the roof line. The building is extremely dangerous to kids unless this is repaired or the sliding replaced immediately. We also strongly suggest that the building receive a thorough inspection of windows, roof, and interior, given the visible exterior rot. We want our son and all students to be safe as well as happy. Our perusal of the budget shows that there was an extra $200,000 allocated for building repairs that was not spent last school year. We therefore feel that it should not be a budgetary concern to make our son's preschool building safe. We respectfully request that the board direct sufficient funds for this building's exterior repair and painting/replacement of the siding immediately, as well as conduct a thorough inspection of the building's interior and exterior to examine other needs. Thank you for your consideration. Sun and Cassie Ayeni. Okay, perfect. So that's the only one that we received by email. And I recognize that the 3 comment cards that came in are for agenda item O1A. And so I would ask that these 3 items, I will call on you for that specific agenda item. And what we're going to do later is I'm going to ask the board to collapse the presentation with the action item. So it'll be up soon. So your cards will be with me and I'll call you during that item. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and move into the high school report. Drs. Richardson, you're up first.
Good evening, everyone. Board of Trustees, amazing student board member. Congratulations, class of 2022. I'm so proud of you. And our amazing superintendent, Dr. McLaughlin, and cabinet. It's an honor to be here in May. It's been a very amazing, challenging year, but a very successful year where we feel that we've grown as a learning community, learned a lot, grew spiritually, learned how to be better leaders and to be more aware how to support our community, our families, our students, and our staff. So just want to also say happy Mother's Day to everyone in the room, to all our parents and guardians. And even though we know Mother's Day is every day, it's important to stop and recognize just the power of it. I know I speak for myself as well, my mother, that just a symbolism of figures who exemplify strength, power, wisdom, guidance, and unconditional love, which has gotten me through the year, my own mother. So just happy Mother's Day. I want to appreciate parents and guardians here and our families here as well. I also want to congratulate our amazing Business Academy teacher and our amazing Business Academy scholars. Mr. Group, part of our Business Academy at San Leandro High, and students who participated in one of our business competitions last week. I know one of our amazing scholars up front can speak to that a little bit more. But I want to stop and recognize the 6 finalists. But out of the 6 at San Leandro High, we had Joshua Ponce, the amazing student board member trustee. Jonathan Martin was a finalist as well. And we had Ariana Jackson and Sanaya Harvey, who won the $500 award for the Innovation Award, which is amazing. And they are moving on to the larger regional competition later on this month. I also want to give an important update around our Elac parent workshop update, where our amazing English language learners and families will have an opportunity to meet with our counselors and joining them to go over the A to G college and graduation requirements. So that's going to be awesome. And we're also planning for other topics that we want to discuss next year. School site council will be this Thursday coming up. So to finalize our SPSA single plan for student achievement, we want to engage all of our stakeholders in that as well, which we know that's a living document. And currently our amazing work-based learning teacher, Tosa, Barry Wise, is working on our summer internships for our amazing scholars. And over 50 students have been placed so far in the following programs with the following employers: Cypress at Mandela, Purely Drinks, SLUSD Summer Music Camp, Anderson Construction, the famous East Bay Mud, SLED. We also have SL 2050 Climate Change and Heals at the San Leandro Hospital. We also have Career Day approaching, which is so important and so amazing. Now that we're these restrictions have been lifted, it's an opportunity we have 50 professionals already identified that will be coming to present to SLHS and Lincoln to present to students, and also we have freshman interviews coming up to talk about their career paths and their career, not only their career paths, but things that they are aspiring to become after high school. So we're excited about our college and career program that we're having. AP testing is underway. That's happening and it's ending at the end of May. Everything's tight this year, but that is successful. All our eligible students are registered and they're taking their AP tests in their respective disciplines. And we also look forward to presenting at Celebrating Schools to learn more on what we want to celebrate this year at San Leandro High. It's been an amazing year, hard year, but a rewarding year at the same time. Did you want to add anything, Dr. Reed?
Ditto, Dr. R.O. Richardson. Thank you.
I knew he was going to say that. Any questions, I'll hand it off to our amazing trustees for any questions.
All right, first in the queue is Trustee Gonzalez.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge that, yes, this has been a very hard year, and thank you for doing a hard year with such class and creativity. And so thank you for that. And we're looking forward to graduation. And, with everything else that's gone on, these students are still graduating. And it's exciting that we do have an in-person graduation. So thank you for all your work this year.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, any further questions, trustees? Okay, great. Thank you, doctors.
Thank you so much.
All right, next up is Mr. Steinecke.
turn the computer on, I'm sorry. Good evening, trustees, Dr. Mike, Cabinet. Thank you for allowing me to give a little update about what's happening at Lincoln. Just like at San Leandro High and with the Dr. Richardson had said, we are now in full swing. So we are, everybody's in person. We're starting to have more activities, and I want to just share a couple of those with you this evening. So we had last month, I talked to you about our Fly Law program. We had our graduation. So we had about 12 graduates of the program in which they explore laws as they affect youth in the area. And also we are planning our annual Remember Them project. Pre-pandemic, we were able to go to Oakland to see the Remember Them Memorial. We've expanded that this year. So we are 25 humanitarians. So we're taking 25 days during our advisory period and also during lunch to discuss the humanitarians and the impact that they've had on their communities and the world in general. Really excited to have our teachers, Mr. Campling, Mr. Gordon, kind of spearhead that effort. So the May 25th, we're hoping to bring 30 students to the Remember Them Memorial. We also, career days coming up on May 19th. Excited to have Jasmine, Barry, and Rachel really leading the charge on creating these opportunities and really opening up Lincoln and San Leandro unified to jobs and careers and get the experts in to talk with the students. We also were able to take our special education students to Chabot College last week as part of a tour. So they were able to have a private tour of the facility and of the resources available to them. Pretty excited to continue those partnerships with our local colleges. And I'm just so happy that we're able to do those things now. Last week, Teacher Appreciation Week, it was really great. Teachers were feeling love and a really good lunch on Friday. So we had a lot of people there. We had 2 subs on campus who were able to celebrate too. So that was pretty good. We had subs, so that was good. Yeah. And we started a staff meeting yesterday, talking about our plans for next year, and then how can we take the momentum that we've now started to roll with and make next year even better for our students. And then the excitement of then transitioning to a new campus. So how do we then build our programs and expand even more of what we do once we're able to move into our new facility? So it was a good conversation. It's not over, but it's a good start to how we can better serve our students. I want to also make sure that we've been calling all of our students. We've had some midterm graduates, so some students finished early and they don't get our parent square notices. They're no longer with our system. So we're actively reaching out and talk to each and every family, make sure that they know when graduation is, June 7th, 6 o'clock, when they can pick up their cap and gowns and all those logistics. So I'm very happy with the team, Ms. Carvalho, Ms. Lopez, and our parent facilitator, Ms. Moran, are making all those calls. So I really appreciate that. We have also our last Elac and school site council are coming up in 2 weeks. So we're looking to close that out, finalize our input on our SIPSA, and then start planning for next year and building more capacity for our families. We are not finishing, we are continuing our CASP and ELAC testing. We are in the middle of makeups and how that supports our students in their learning. I'm really happy about how the LPAC is working this year with our individual phone calls and reach outs, and then really focusing in on the speaking sections of the LPAC to make sure our students are getting every opportunity to show just how great they are and what they've learned coming through San Leandro and Lincoln. Lastly, we are very happy that we've had the independent study this year. And the reason why I say that is because we're also the CASP, we're having to administer it remotely. So we were able to take some lessons from the distance learning pandemic and then use that in really creating an environment where our students are feeling supported in these tests and making the best of it. And so more to come, and we're looking forward to the end of the year, graduation, and then what next year can bring. So thank you, guys.
Great, thank you. All right, questions and comments from trustees. Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes, I want to repeat what I just said to the Richardsons in that I know this has been a tough year and thank you for being there and thank you for, celebrating graduation with all these students next week. I also wanted to give a shout out because I was able to tour the Boys and Girls Club recently. And all they could talk about was the partnership that has been created with the Lincoln students.
Yeah.
And so thank you very much for that. You are making a lot of people in our community very, very excited. And so thank you for that partnership.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions, comments? Okay, great. Thank you, Mr.
All right,
Steinecke.
thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, next up on the agenda is our bond report. Director Aaron Kerrigan.
Good evening, board members. Progress is going well with our active projects. Tonight, I want to show you see what we've actually accomplished so far, and then I'll make a report or a fuller report at our next board meeting about status of projects. And with the conclusion of that, I'm ready to take any questions you may have tonight.
Perfect. Trustees, any questions, comments? Okay, great. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, next on our agenda is one presentation on Wilson renaming. That would be Director Moss.
Well, I'm kind of wishing now I had a soundtrack, but not quite that good. Good evening, esteemed Board of Trustees, Dr. McLaughlin, District Cabinet and staff, and our meeting attendees. My name is Keziah Moss, and I serve as your Director of Community and Employee Engagement for the San Leandro Unified School District. I am very pleased to have the opportunity to share with you the results of the community engagement process to rename Woodrow Wilson Elementary School. But before I begin, I do want to draw your attention to the images that I'll be using in this presentation, as they are public artifacts of the engagement process that were created by Wilson Elementary students. And it has been part of their entire journey over this 2 years. I'd like to provide a brief overview of the process to rename Wilson Elementary up to this point in time. First, the district received a petition from over 75% of the school staff during the summer of 2020. per which board policy triggered a review of the school name. Reasons for the name change stated in the position included President Woodrow Wilson's resegregation of the federal government and vocal support for racist policies and practices during his tenure, which stood in stark contrast to the school and district goals for equity and inclusion. After a robust engagement process at both the school and district level, the board took action last spring to discontinue the use of the name Woodrow Wilson. And given the tremendous efforts put forth to fully reopen our schools and welcome students and staff back to campuses during the challenge of the pandemic, the engagement process to determine a new name for the school was extended over this school year. So I will share the results of this process with you now. Under the leadership of Principal Virginia Hvac, Wilson Elementary worked with their students, staff, and community to bring forth potential names for the school that better reflect not only the diversity of the student body, but also the history of the Wilson area. The students engaged in project-based learning units to research the history of the land Wilson Elementary is situated on as a starting point to generate potential names. Their learning was supplemented with resources from the San Leandro History Museum and the East Bay Regional Park's Ohlone curriculum. Principal Hvac shared these names with the community through messages and required community meetings to get their feedback on the names being brought forward. From this discussion, she created a survey that was shared on the school's communication platform to gather even more feedback and alert the community to the renaming process. Principal Hvac also presented this information to the Communications and Advocacy Board Committee for feedback and direction. These are the names, or these are the results of the school level engagement, with the 3 names that generated the most votes shown in bold. Cherry Orchard Elementary was the top vote getter to honor San Leandro's delicious agricultural history. Redwood Elementary was the second place choice to honor the giant trees that thrived in the hills near San Leandro. Hvac Elementary was the third place choice to honor the history of the area we call San Leandro, which is in the traditional Hvac homeland of the Chochenyo and Bay Miwok Ohlone people, per the San Leandro Historical Society. I've also included all of the names that were generated through this process on this list. After receiving the names from Principal Hvac, the district began a wider engagement process, which mirrored the process undertaken last spring to discontinue the name. We solicited input on the names suggested by the Wilson community through a community survey, which included the opportunity for folks to write in their own suggestions. The outreach included a district-wide parent square message, posting on the front of the website, posting on all social media channels, and paid advertising in the San Leandro Times newspaper. This process was directed and reviewed by the Communications and Advocacy Board Committee members. These are the results of the district engagement process, with the 3 names that generated the most votes shown in bold. Additionally, all of the names submitted by the public are shown on this list. Once the district's engagement process was complete, the Renaming Schools Advisory Committee convened to discuss the results in hopes of sharing recommendations to the Board of Education. Of the 7 committee members in attendance, 6 felt that we should honor the overwhelming results of the community survey and rename Wilson Elementary as Hvac Elementary to honor the indigenous name given to the land where Wilson Elementary is located. As one of the committee members summarized, there are many Cherry, Redwood, and Pacific elementary schools in the world. There are no Hvac elementary schools. This is a chance to honor the history and culture of the old nation that has lived and thrived here for generations. I would also share that one of the committee members recommended that a new survey be shared with the community using all of the names generated from both the school and district level engagement, so that everyone could see all of the names at one time before casting their votes. The Communications and Advocacy Committee recommended this be brought to the full Board of Trustees to determine next steps. But before I take questions or comments, I want to express my sincere gratitude to the members of the committee, the Community Advisory Committee, who gave time and care to their recommendations and support over the past 2 years. I would also like to thank Principal Virginia Hvac and the Wilson Elementary staff, students, and families for their patience and efforts to engage in this work during an unbelievably challenging time in our schools. And as a shameless plug for our elementary school open houses coming this Thursday, I highly recommend a tour of the hallways at Wilson Elementary to see the incredible work the students generated as a part of this project-based learning experience. These photos do not do them justice. Thank you very much, and I welcome any questions or comments that you have.
All right, trustees, any questions, comments on the presentation? Okay, trustee Sheridan.
Yeah, I do have a question. I understand that the whole renaming process came about or was triggered by 75% of that school community or teachers asking to rename the school, right? So why is it that when it comes to selecting a name, we are choosing to honor what the community put forward rather than what came from that school?
That is a part of the discussion that we had in the
Okay.
Community Advisory Committee. Members of the Wilson community were there at the committee meeting, and they, if I can summarize what the comments were, is they felt that the students may have chosen the Cherry name because it was something more tangible that they were familiar with.
Okay.
So it's part of the discussion whether we honor the school level engagement or we honor the district level engagement or something altogether different.
Great, thank you.
Trustee Gonzalez.
I want to say thank you. I know to both of, Virginia Hvac as well, because it was a very challenging time and we took on renaming at the same time. So thank you for running this process. Thank you for all the committee members that attended and spent the time on this. I am very happy that we have come this far and that there is a place for us to have this discussion tonight. So thank you to all those involved to get it to this place.
Thank you. It's been a lot of work.
Trustee Oshinsky.
I also want to start by saying thank you for all the hard work. And it's been a long process. It's been a couple of years. So thank you for that. So one quick question, how are we going to pay for this?
See, that's not a discussion for Ms. Moss. That would be a discussion once we get to the action item. She
Okay.
just ran the process. She doesn't have a wallet in this case, so.
Okay, trustee Prola.
Well, I guess first I should tell Ms. Moss to ask for a raise after all this, but anyway. I'm not against changing the name. I want to say that for in the first place. And I don't really, out of the ones that I've seen, I don't really have a preference, but and maybe this is just me, okay, but we've always had when we had presidents, we had all the schools were named after presidents. If we end up with one named after Indian tribe and one named after a cherry grove and one named after, I don't know, grasshopper or whatever, it seems like there's not much of a theme. And I don't know if it matters whether there's a theme. I'm just bringing that up because it's something that sort of, I don't know if it bothers me. It's just out there. Okay.
Trustee Parola, we'll be moving the action item up and then we can have that discussion on a broader thing. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Moss on the process?
Okay, thank you.
No? Thank you, Keziah. You did an awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keziah. Okay, with that being said, I am actually going to go ahead and make a motion to move out of the orders of the day and bring item 01A, which is the action item on Wilson renaming, ahead of this presentation. So 1, we can take public comment, and 2, we can have that discussion here at this time.
I'll second it.
Okay, great. That motion's been moved by me and seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Okay, please vote. Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, yes, sorry. 7+1. And moving on then to action item 01A out of the orders of the day. And then first, I think I'll go ahead and, hold on one second.
Yeah, I asked for the public comment.
Okay.
The board would like to entertain, we'd like to take the public comments that are here on this item, then entertain motions or discussions at that point.
Okay, and with that being said, the first member of the public tonight, Miss Virginia Hvac.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent McLaughlin, Cabinet, and community members here this evening. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about the process that we've been through. I'm really proud to be a part of this greater San Leandro community and certainly our Dolphin community as well at Wilson that was willing to do the hard, important work of learning about and uplifting who and where we are, especially at where Wilson is located. And I think that the work that our students and our community did, as you saw in the engagement process, it didn't just involve the Wilson community, but involved the entire San Leandro community. This work really embodies the San Leandro Unified School District's mission that was read by the board member just a few minutes ago. Our mission is to educate students to achieve academic excellence in order to become confident, collaborative, and engaged citizens. That was a really important part of this process, that our students became engaged citizens in a community rich in heritage and diverse in culture, where we value our traditions and embrace innovation. The committee that met recommended Hvac based on the data that was collected. And I do really feel that that Hvac name does embrace our heritage here in this area in San Leandro and is innovation as was brought forth by the committee. This would be the only Hvac elementary in the world. What an opportunity for our community. So I just wanted to share that piece from the committee work that I witnessed. We went through a really long process, multiple meetings with our Wilson community families and students, family learning sessions. All along the way, discussion, reflection, and learning took place. I just want to honor that work that our community engaged in. It was treated with depth and gravity by all members of our community, including this board, and I appreciate that. It also touches on what we hope for our students in our graduate profile. Our students are becoming critical thinkers, confronting challenges. This was challenging, right? In the context of a really difficult time, but also just to endeavor to change the name of an institution is a challenge. To create inclusive and welcoming communities. This was a shift to creating a more inclusive and welcoming community to the people who walk through that front door and what name they'll be walking under. Using our cultural knowledge to engage in a diverse world and advocate for equity. Again, I'm just really proud of the work that our community, Greater San Leandro community, and our Dolphin community has been able to engage in through this process. I am grateful to be a part of this district. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Principal Hvac. Moving on to next in our card queue, Ms. Katie Felsinger.
Good evening, Superintendent McLaughlin and Cabinet and trustees and community members. My name is Katie and I teach transitional kindergarten at Wilson Elementary. I've been involved in this process since writing the letter. So first, I want to thank you for your willingness to engage in this process with us. Tonight, I just wanted to share a few quotes from my students. They are 5 years old and they know a lot about Ohlone history of this land. So I wanted to share that my class and we would like you to consider voting for Hvac as the name of our school. So here's what they said today. And you'll notice that when they speak of Ohlone people, they do not speak in the past tense. They're speaking of Ohlone people in the present because they acknowledge that the Ohlone culture, Ohlone people are living and thriving on this land where we live. So they said, keep in mind that they're 5. I said, what have you learned about Hvac? And they said, they are the Ohlone people. They said, the Hvac people are the ones that live in Hvac. They said, Hvac is where we live. Hvac was our city's name before San Leandro. They said, Hvac people like to eat acorns. And they said, Hvac was the name we wanted for our school. Thank you for considering Hvac for our school's name.
Thank you, Ms. Felsinger. Okay, next in public comment is Luis Shaw.
Hi, good evening. My name is Louise Shaw. I live in San Leandro. I teach in San Leandro. I teach at Wilson. Both of my own children went through Wilson and they're both at the high school now. And I have no problem with Wilson being renamed. I think that's a really fantastic idea because if we're going to support our kids, we need to have a name that will show them pride. I know that the committee was very thoughtful in their decision of recommending Halkeen, but I have concerns about the name Halkeen, spelled Halkin. It's an obscure name. If you search on Google, what you're going to see is primary results are Eastern European, their hotels, their street names. You get no reference to the Ohlone. I believe wholeheartedly that we need to honor the Ohlone, but I'm not sure Halkeen is the way to do it. If you look at the 115-page timeline of San Leandro history done by Mary Lee Barr, who was the Master of Library Science through the San Leandro Public Library. Halkeen is spelled Jalquin, which Miss Katie referenced as the people. My concern is that there's no reference to the Ohlone with the current spelling of Halkin. If the committee's goal is to honor the Ohlone, which it is, and I believe it is, why not just name the school Ohlone Elementary? I don't think there's any value in having the only elementary school named Halkeen if people go to look it up and they can't find what it means. You know, I can see myself driving past and going, oh, I wonder who Mr. and Mrs. Halkeen were. Because again, if the information is not readily available, then I don't think it has as much value. And even if we know this information, when I go to search and teach my students, if I can't find it, if I don't have precise information, then I'm not doing my students a service. So I hope that my concerns will be considered and discussed before a final decision is made. I really would like to honor the Indigenous people who are here before us, but I think that there's a better way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. Okay, next in public comment is Vincent Medina.
Orshimur Makam. Good evening to you all, trustees, in Chochenyo, the original language of San Leandro. My name is Vincent Medina, and I'm joined here by my partner and my family. We're all one family here, and we're Halkeen people. Our family has lived here in this area of what we now call San Leandro forever. We've never left this area. We've been here since our beginning days to where we're at today, even through a violent history with colonization, through enslavement at Mission San Jose, through the loss of our family's federal recognition. In spite of those hardships, because of the strength of our ancestors and our elders, we continue to be here in our home, here in Halkeen. One reason that Halkeen isn't known is because our history was attempted to be swept under the rug, replaced with ways that came here from other parts of the world, primarily from Europe. The fact, though, is that this place has an original identity. This place has an original presence that's here. And us, the Halkeen people, also known as Ohlone people today, we've never left. Today we're called Ohlone, but before we're called Ohlone, Halkeen is the original name of this area between San Leandro Creek and San Lorenzo Creeks. This place that we've always been. We imagine in this time of inclusion, in this time of social justice, to have our culture be uplifted as well, to be able to live in a time where people will know the original name of the space, to know that us Halkeen people are here and how that will shape the minds of these young learners, to know that the culture is alive and that we're alive as well, how this will foster greater respect for the living people today as we work to undo the harms that violent colonization has brought, harms that we're still encountering even to this day. I'd like to acknowledge behind us right here, our cousin Tina Ladani, her grandmother and grandfather, my auntie Jenny and our uncle Ben, lived immediately behind what is now Wilson Elementary School, literally bordering on the schoolyard there. Our elders, including our auntie Jenny, our cousin Tina's grandmother, work to keep the culture strong so that we can be able to be here. That's one example of the leadership from our elders that allows us to be able to see such healing that's taking place today. But to imagine the invisibility that our community faces within our own homeland, and to imagine how that affects the self-esteem of young Ohlone children, of young Hvac children specifically, here that are still in San Leandro. We know that there's a way forward, and that's through uplifting our culture so that our young people and our elders alike could see our culture reflected outside of the homes of our families and into the world around us. This renaming into Hvac Elementary is on this trajectory of giving justice and equity to Ohlone people right here, specifically Hvac people, the most local people of this part of the world, of this part of the East Bay. I encourage all of you to please vote for this renaming of Hvac Elementary. It literally will be the only Hvac Elementary in the entire world, uplifting our specific people and at the same time bringing justice and inclusion to our people who have never left San Leandro and have always been here in this part of the East Bay. Hvac, thank you all.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all of the members of the public who came to speak to us tonight. I appreciate you bringing your passion to this discussion as we move into deliberation. Okay, and speaking of course, based on parliamentary procedure, before we do move into discussion, I need a motion on the table. So if anybody would like to make a motion, that now is the time.
What would be the name?
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. A motion made by Trustee Tate to rename school to Hvac Elementary and seconded by Trustee Gonzalez. Now we move into discussion. Trustees, I'll be looking at the queue. Trustee Tate, you're first up.
First of all, I want to thank the speaker for coming forward. First of all, I want to say we're when there's change, right? So you're never going to please every person in the situation when you're changing. So, if
Thank you. Next up is Trustee Oshinsky.
I want to apologize to Ms. Moss for putting you on the spot. I didn't mean to do that. But once again, my question, how are we going to pay for this?
Well, we'd have to we've looked at a couple things just with any name is it's not much structural. You're talking about names on stationery, shirts, things like that. So we'd put a budget together and then decide where we want to go with it. But, initially you're not talking about, we're already redoing all our marquees as part of our bonds. So we haven't paid for anything yet. So that's a perfect timing. It's just really the front, and we've looked at that, and it's not as big as overturning as we thought, basically cementing over and then putting letters that pop out. over the past name. So structurally, I don't think it's a large thing. It's mostly the peripheral stuff going through forms and things like that. Most of it's digital anyways now, so.
Right.
But, if you want to, we would probably bring something to the communication advocacy group about a campaign to how do we kick this off once it's decided, no matter what name it is. So, but I don't think it's a large amount.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Gonzalez.
Yeah, again, thank you to the committee for all your work. I agree with Trustee Tate that I think that by doing this, we can actually make Google searches which have appropriate information, which I think is really exciting to be the beginning of shining light and giving a name to people that have already been here forever and have been erased from our community. And I wish we could do that for all the community members that are experiencing the idea that they are erased from our community. So here we have a chance to put our equity, all of the equity things we talk about, into practice. And so that's why I totally support this name.
Thank you. Trustee Sheridan.
Initially I was going to state that I supported Ms. Shaw in her comments and felt that I could go along with her comments about the confusion that it could cause. But as Trustee Tate and Trustee Gonzalez stated, it is an opportunity to put it on the map and to educate people, to get it included in Google searches, and honor the people that came before us here in San Leandro. And that's what we do in a school, is we educate people. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to put our stamp on that and continue innovating like we do as a district. So I am in support of that.
Thank you. Trustee Toledo.
I also would like to thank everyone who was a part of this process. I know that it took a lot of effort over many years and tough years along with that. So thank you to all of our families, all our teachers, all our staff, our principals, everyone from the community who was involved. And I am also in support of this name. I guess this really calls for a cultural change in our district. And the fact that it's being renamed for an elementary school says a lot. I think if we're teaching our students at a very young age how to be socially conscious and accepting of everyone and all of its history that San Leandro has, it speaks volumes. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll do a last round before I go. Any other questions, comments, trustees? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to the committee in charge of this really daunting task. Honestly, renaming schools is not hard. It's not easy. And it requires dialogue. It requires community. And so I thank you for being a part of that process. And thank you to Director Moss for being ahead of it too. I see it in two different ways. The community has spoken at large, and this is an opportunity for us to uplift a community who has not historically been able to speak in these larger public spaces in contemporary history. And I think this is an opportunity that we cannot miss. And so if we are to put equity, in line with this school district, then I think this is the right decision that is to be made. And so I am, of course, in support of this. And so I think with that, if there are no more questions or comments from trustees, then we can go ahead and take a vote on the motion to rename Woodrow Wilson Elementary School to Hvac Elementary School. Let's go ahead and vote on our tablets, trustees. All right, that would be 6 + 1, 1 in opposition, and the motion passes. Thank you very much, trustees, and thank you, community. Okay, thank you very much. Now we move back into I'm trying to organize my agenda here, back into the orders of the day, into COVID-19 update report. Dr. McLaughlin, did you have anything for us?
Well, when there says none, that's a good news. So far numbers are staying down. But as you know, if you're watching the news, and I watch it every day, multiple times, you're seeing some ticks across the bay and things like that. So again, we'll continually keep watching. Let's hope that we can make it through the rest of the year. And so we can keep all our celebrations and every in-person event that we're excited to do to close the year. But so far, everything looks good. And there was no, I talked to Rocky yesterday, there was no new updates. So on the COVID-19, right? So just don't get the cold.
All right, thank you very much. Moving into reports. First step is correspondence. Trustee Tate.
Okay, thank you. The clerk report for May 10th. I did report on this on the last report where the TV, Leandro USD communication press release vote for all-star teacher vote. You can vote daily, 11th to June 6th. It gives our school an opportunity to win $1,000 in super easy to vote on. So let's rally and continue this. 10 wins. Certificate vacancy. Dog helping popular education spotlight new CBO County Supervisor Dave Brown bi-weekly newsletter. April official newsletter. Alameda County Audit. April 9th. F&T meeting May 4th. May 1st, ASCD celebrate. Is teacher appreciation. Second, ASCD, thank you, teacher. May 3rd, K-12 Guide, 21 top lines to help students. SLUSD. High school yearbook and excellence. May 7th, Cal Matters, the week's top story. Dr. Dave Brown's bi-weekly newsletter, certificate of vacancy. Classified summer school. Commerce, career day, and summer internship.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Moving on to the student board member report. Trustee Martin.
Good evening, everybody. First, just can't believe that it's already May. Feel like it was just August, a blink of an eye ago. I just have to say nothing negative. It's been a year of growth and self-reflection. Coming in this year, I have to say, I didn't know who I was, and I could see many people else didn't know who they was. We spent however many months in quarantine. So just talking and socializing and just seeing people in person. I forgot that person skill, just talking to my family every day. So I have to say, school year's been very good. We had a few scuffles in the beginning of the year, but everything's been smoothing out. We know we had the COVID surge, but that's been smoothing out. And even though the mask mandates lifted, it seems like nothing crazy has happened. So God has been very good. And as I said, it's been a blessed year, and I'm sad to be leaving, although I will be attending the University of San Diego this fall. So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Welcome news. Congratulations. Moving on to union representative reports. I don't see any of our union representatives in the audience, so I think we'll go ahead and move on to board committee reports. First up is communication advocacy.
Okay, we met on April 27th. We had a presentation on the website redesign by David Mellons. We looked at the overall plan for the new website. And the reason we're moving to this new website is because the one we have isn't very mobile friendly. And the new one will be completely mobile friendly for both iPhones and Androids. We expect the launch to be in mid-July. And then we also were talking about we should do a launch party and with press attention for the new website. We talked about the renaming of the schools. We got a presentation and we approved it to be passed on to tonight. And so thank you for that. The adult school, we talked about rebranding the logo. And just so that if any of you don't remember what the logo looks like, it was in the packet that Ms. Mayfield gave to you. So you can look at what the old logo looks like. And we agreed to pass on the vendor quote onto tonight's agenda to work with the rebranding of the logo. We did suggest what we want is for the school community to give us 3 options. Unlike when we went through the food services redesign, they came with 1. We want 3 to come to us so that we have a choice as a board to decide on what direction we want to go on. Or if we like 1 and want it tweaked a little, we can send it back. But so we expect to have 3 logos to us. We also talked about the brochure for the adult school. And right now it's a PDF that's on the website. And what we wanted was a non-PDF form of the brochure, which will also be worked on at the same time. Career Day, May 19th at both the high school and at Lincoln, at San Leandro High and at Lincoln. And then we talked about our participation in the Cherry Parade and the San Leandro Sesquicentennial. And so we are having a booth at the event. And I believe that also the decision was to do a float in the parade. And so the parade starts at 10 o'clock and ends at 11. The event, which is called The Gathering, is going to start at 11 a.m. and go until 5 p.m. So I am running the event, The Gathering, so I will not be on the helping at all with the parade or with the booth. So hopefully you all will sign up double. So thank you very much. And that concludes the report for communications and advocacy.
Mayfield and I will be sending something out to you about the booth and the float.
Great. Thank you very much. Moving on to curriculum and policy.
Our next meeting is May the 23rd.
Thank you. Thank you. Facilities and technology.
Thank you, President Aguilar. F&T met last Wednesday, May 4th. It's probably our longest meeting to date, or at least that I can recall in the last number of years. Started off with the technology update and copier contract update from Larry Simon. We had a number of items in our consent agenda. We also had a discussion regarding Chromebook refreshes and one-to-one for both home and at the school site, and looking at the lifespan of these devices to continue keeping fresh devices in the hands before these things brick or are no longer functional. We had a number of items in our action items and we've sent some of them forward, and you will see later on today under action items, under ed services and under facilities and technology. And then Aaron gave us a presentation on the bond presentation, but he promised to have much more for our next meeting, and he will probably get us all up to date before we depart for the summer as to the projects that they have planned for the summer. And that is it for my update. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Moving on to finance.
Next meeting is June the 15th.
Thank you very much. Drug, alcohol, tobacco, education, date committee.
Next meeting is tomorrow morning at 8:30.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your reports. Moving on to the consent agenda. Would anybody like to move the consent agenda as there? Or if there are any polls, please let me know.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Okay, it's been moved by trustee Oshinsky, and I see a pointer, so I'll say seconded by trustee Prola. Okay, everybody, please vote. Perfect, that goes 7+1. Moving on to action and discussion items. It would be item 3A, contract agreement between NAACP and San Leandro Unified School District.
3A. I'll second it.
That item has been moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Tate. All right, please vote. 7+1. Moving on to 3B, contract proposal with Blaze Consulting Group for service standards 2022, 2023.
I'll move 3B.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by trustee Oshinsky, seconded by trustee Tate. Please vote. Thank you. That goes 7+1. And yes, as a reminder, please stop me if there are any questions or discussion. I'll be looking at the queue. Okay, next, under action items 3C, Director of Assessment and Accountability.
I'll move 3C.
I'll second.
Moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Oshinsky. Please vote. All right, that moves 7+1. Moving on to 4A, contract service agreement between San Leandro Unified and Sylvan Learning Center for summer 2022 intervention academic program.
I'll move 4A.
Whoa, unison. It was moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Prola. All right, please vote. Okay, that moves 7+1. Moving on to 4B, contract approval of Edmo and San Leandro Unified for summer 2022 program.
I'll move 4B.
I'll second.
It's been moved by trustee Gonzalez and seconded by trustee Oshinsky. All in favor? Sorry, please vote. Zoom habits. Okay, great. 7+1. Thank you very much. 4D, Chromebooks to support off-campus remote learning opportunities. Additional Chromebooks for
4C.
Oh, you're right. 4C, approval. I need to slow down. I'm going fast. 4C, approval of contract service agreement between Wellness Together and San Leandro Unified School District for summer school 2022 mental health counseling services.
I'll move 4C.
Well, I heard trustee Prola.
Oh.
She was loudest.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
All right, it's been moved by trustee Prola, seconded by trustee Toledo. Please vote. All right, that's 7+1. Thank you. Moving on to 4D, Chromebooks to support off-campus remote learning opportunities, additional Chromebooks for at-home student use.
I'll move 4D.
I'll second it.
All right, that's been moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Please vote. All right, that moves 7+1. Moving to 4E, classroom Chromebooks refresh, additional Chromebooks to support classroom technology.
I'll move 4E.
I'll second.
That's been moved by trustee Gonzalez and it's been seconded by, oh, I see a lot of fingers, trustee Oshinsky. All right, please vote. Thank you, 7+1. Moving to 4F, hotspots to support off-campus remote learning opportunities, hotspots to support off-campus learning for students.
I'll move 4F.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Toledo. Please vote. All right, thank you. That goes 7+1. Moving on to 4G, additional compliance services for ECF funding for the 2022-23 school year, consulting services to apply for to available federal technology funding.
I'll move 4G.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Sheridan. Please vote. All right, that goes 7+1. Moving into district 4H, district network rack hardware, replacement networking rack hardware for SLUSD.
I'll move 4H.
I'll second it.
All right, it's been moved by trustee Toledo and seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Please vote. That goes 7+1. Moving on to 4I.
You missed. You didn't vote.
Oh, I thought I did.
Let's vote again for that.
Nah, just smart.
That's I.
I'll vouch for him.
All right, moving into 4J.
But,
4I, I'm all over the place, y'all. 4I, approval of Bancroft Middle School Light Award Grant Program 2022-24.
I'll second it.
All right, it's been moved by trustee Prola, seconded by trustee Tate. Please vote. Thank you. That goes 7+1. Now moving on to 4J, approval of contract proposal between Elevo and San Leandro Unified School District for summer 2022 program.
I'll move 4J.
I'll second.
Been moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Oshinsky. Please vote. That goes 7+1. Moving on to 4K, memorandum of understanding, the San Leandro Unified School District and the English Learners Success Forum.
I'll move 4K. No, go ahead.
Okay, it's been moved by trustee Prola and
Seconded.
seconded by trustee Sheridan. Please vote. Thank you very much. That goes 7+1. Moving on to 4L, memorandum of understanding between San Leandro Unified School District and San Leandro Boys and Girls Club for its 2022 summer program.
I'll move 4L. I'll second it.
All right, it's been moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Prola. Please vote. That goes 7+1. Moving on to 4M, approval of contract of services between Nexplore and San Leandro Unified for, got that, summer 2022 program.
I will approve, I will make a motion for that.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Oshinsky. Please vote. Goes 7+1. Moving on to 5A, capital improvement request, Roosevelt Elementary School Kinder Classroom Garden Project.
I'll move 5A. I'll second it.
Been moved by trustee Prola, seconded by trustee Toledo. Please vote. All right, that goes 7+1. Moving to 5B, R.A. Jones Construction Contract to rehab Wilson Portables.
I'll move 5B.
I'll second.
It's been moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Oshinsky. Please vote. Thank you very much. 7+1. Moving on to 5C, RGM Kramer Addendum Number 2 Consulting Agreement, end of Measure J1 and through Measure N.
I'll move 5C.
I'll second it.
That's been moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Please vote. All right, that goes 7+1. Moving on to 5D, new HVAC unit for special education office at the San Leandro High School.
I'll move 5D.
I'll second.
All right, that's been moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Oshinsky. Please vote. All right, that's 7+1. Moving to 5E, C. Overa and Company LLB agreement for GMP San Leandro High School courtyard improvements.
I'll move 5E.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by trustee Oshinsky, and it's been seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Please vote. All right, that goes 7+1. And last but not least, 5F, Suarez and Munoz Construction, Inc., LLB agreement, final GMP, multi-site shade structure construction project.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by trustee Prola, seconded by trustee Gonzalez, and I believe Dr. Mike has.
No, I'm just getting ready for my.
Okay. All right, then let's go ahead and take a vote. All right, that's 7+1. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for your patience with me tonight. Now we move into information items and yes, now we move into cabinet reports. Dr. Mike.
Sure. Don't apologize. I'm appreciating the swiftness. I'm breaking fevers over here, so I can't wait to get out of here and go home. So good evening, everybody. I want to start out by saying it was a pleasure last week, even though I was a little under the weather, of handing out awards. It was so nice to hand out our Teacher of the Year awards and classified awards and Administrator of the Year awards, and just we've had a rough couple of weeks. It's nice to, pass around some joy and have some fun doing that. And again, congratulations to all our teachers, classified, certificated administrators. We just have wonderful people that do a great job on a daily basis. Also, I want to put a big thanks to all our teachers, all our administrators, cabinet, everybody. As you've heard from me, when I send messages to you, a lot of absences, a lot of people here and there, and just trying to cover classes has just become more and more difficult. And everybody's running around covering this, moving this class to this, doing this. And I just appreciate them so much, because it's not just an 8 to 5 job. They're working at night. They're trying to shuffle things around, and at the same time, HR is still trying to hire people over here, and people are trying to do their budgets over here. People are trying to deal with parents, and we got all these things still going on a regular school day. But on top of that, we're trying to fill these vacancies on a daily basis, so I just appreciate seeing Dr. Collins out there doing yard duty is just awesome, and myself, I think we even pulled Mr. Kerrigan out there one day, pulled him out of a lunch, said, we need you for yard duty. So everybody's pulling together. Miss Clark was running Bancroft for a while. I mean, just all hands on deck. So that's just what we do here, and proud of everybody. We're moving into, again, I say this every year, this is what we do, graduation. This is what we're here for, and we're rolling into that season. I'm hoping we can have a nice, smooth transition, because this is what we're here for. It's time for kids to celebrate and parents to celebrate, the board, everybody that's supposed, this is from our hard work, and so other than that, yeah, I'm done. I'm not contagious, by the way, and I don't have COVID. I just have a bad cold. Those things still exist. So with that, I'd be done.
Thank you, Dr. Mike. Moving on to Assistant Superintendent for Ed Services. Is anybody stepping in, or we can go ahead and skip that?
Yeah. Dr. Patel's at a graduation celebrating, so I gave her permission to not be here. So you saw the things she's doing. You had just approved them all. So she's been very busy. Elec season 2. So you'll hear from her in June.
Perfect. Moving on to Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services, Dr. Zavina Zaneti-Patin.
Good evening, Board, trustees, and Dr. McLaughlin. This week, SLUSD spent time celebrating Teachers Appreciation Week. We were able to visit all the Teacher of the Year winners at each site, and they were gifted a beautiful plant and a custom planner with our SLUSD logo, complete with a box of See's candy and a caption that said, "Thank you for helping us grow." The Teacher of the Year winner, Mr. Sean Kavanaugh, I think he was here earlier this evening, at Wilson, he received a crystal award and a card complete with a Starbucks gift card from Dr. McLaughlin. So this celebration and more to come in the coming weeks. It's really an opportunity not only to honor the work of the outstanding individuals that contribute to the education of our students, but also to recognize that it takes a collective group effort of all of our employees, whether they're certificated or classified, whether they're working directly or indirectly with our students. It's really a collaborative effort that they are doing in order to make sure that they are making things happen right behind the scenes. And so I think that as I was reflecting about all of the great things and the opportunities that you all had to go and celebrate teachers, I think that in SLUSD, we fundamentally believe that the most talented individuals alone can't be as effective as a group of talented people. And those talented people who are working together and really intentionally, not only to celebrate the individual excellence that we have, but also just the collaboration that these folks are all having. So I think that in the most challenging of circumstances in SLUSD, our staff has this do what it takes attitude. As you heard Dr. McLaughlin say, we all kind of landed all hands on deck, and we were able to celebrate this I think is what really makes our staff amazing, that we can just drop everything and go help where is needed. So I want to thank also any of the parent clubs or the community that also kind of local businesses who donated some things to help celebrate. because it's really showing that our community stands by our employees, and they're also, helping to dedicate some time to appreciate them. I want to thank the staff in Personnel Services, the leadership of Rosalia Ward, Michelle Falarca, and the Director of Community Employee Engagement, Kazai Moss, in advance of the next coming week's success, because I know how much work they've put in over these last few months in organizing all these opportunities to celebrate our employees. And finally, a continued thank you also to our staff in Student Services and our Ed Services staff who continue to support at all of our schools, finding coverage for our teacher absences. And we look forward to the employee retirement and recognition event that's going to be held on June 2nd at 2:30 in the San Leandro AEC. So I hope to see you all there, and so that we can help recognize the countless years of service that our employees are giving to us. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations, Dr. Kevin Collins.
Good evening, Board. The state budget news is coming out this week. And despite what we hear on the news regarding inflation, fuel prices, drought, stock market issues, employment problems, and ongoing supply chain issues, the state budget is doing really well and getting better every time we hear about it. We're looking forward to hearing about the May revise when the governor releases it later this week, which will be followed by a lot of analysis and workshops to hear more about that. So we're looking forward to that. Our audit with our independent auditor is continuing, and the auditor is focusing on several of our COVID-related federal funds that are now included in the audit. I'll say that what our big focus right now is on developing the 22-23 budget, and between yard duty and substitute duties, that's taking the majority of my time at this point. And finally, just really pleased and happy to see our progress on Measure N going along so strongly. We are just 2 years from when voters passed Measure N in March of 2020. And despite a lot of that time being spent in lockdown and in the pandemic, we have a lot to show for it right now with a completed Roosevelt project that you were able to see tonight, and Bancroft well underway, groundbreaking at Muir, being really close to groundbreaking at Lincoln next month, and then getting closer and closer to our really flagship gym project at the high school, and then continue to see significant progress after that on a number of projects. So really pleased about that. And that's it for this evening. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Moving on to board representative reports. First up, Alameda County School Boards Association.
I wasn't able to attend the meeting on 4/28. I was out of town at a professional development conference. So President Aguilar, were you able to be there?
Yes.
Okay, if you could give the update,
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. It was actually a pretty short meeting. I myself, in my role as the director for our Region 7 at the California School Boards Association, gave a little bit of an update regarding state funding and regarding some policies that we are looking at attacking and going up to Sacramento to advocate for and against. So there's a lot. There are a lot of education bills that are coming up right now of interest, but that's a discussion for another time. And in addition, we had a presentation from the chancellor of the wow, I don't know why it's blanking. The chancellor of the Chabot Las Positas Community College District, as well as both of the presidents, Chabot and Las Positas, on enrollment numbers and generally about some of the things that they're doing. And they're doing some great work in regards to matriculation and involving our school districts in a lot of the work that they do. So it was an interesting conversation. I'm really grateful to have went and been able to sit in on it. So I guess that's what we have for Alameda County School Boards Association. Do you have the date for the next meeting?
No, not yet. We haven't settled on it.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. Then we go ahead and move into the Eden Area Regional Occupational Program. And at our last ROP meeting, we did our final slate of approval for board policies and internal policies. So now the whole organization is updated, which is awesome. We were backlogged with policies from a very long time ago. So it's nice to have all of that work done. And in addition, we had an awesome presentation. It was our dental assisting program actually presenting graduates. And it was just really nice to see a full class of students come on through for what is actually a unique program to the Bay Area, a 14-month dental assistant program. It's pretty intense, but it's well worth it. And I'm really excited to have been able to sit in the room to see all of these amazing women and women of color be able to get on and graduate, get into the workforce now, immediately after graduation. Yeah, and in addition, I think I'll be bringing at the next board meeting a report on some of what's going on with the selection of the next superintendent for ROP. It's a larger discussion that's been happening, and I'll bring that next time for sure. We have been making some progress on that. And next is Mid-Alameda County SELPA. All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Moving on to the City Disaster Preparedness Council.
Thank you, President Aguilar. I believe we're slated to have one this month. Don't hold me to that because I've been known to be wrong on meeting dates before. But this one is actually facilitated by the city, and they had agreed to go to quarterly meetings last February or in February. So we're slated for May. We've just not seen any communication from the city as of yet. Once we do have a meeting, I will report out. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Moving into future business, are there any consensus items among us tonight, trustees? Okay, going once, going twice. Great, then we'll go ahead and move into board reports, additional suggestions and comments from board members, starting with Trustee Prola.
Sorry, you caught me by surprise there. No, I don't really have much to report this time, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for all of your participation and the boards too. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes, so I had the opportunity to attend State of the City with some of my other colleagues here, which was nice to be back in person. I also attended the San Leandro Chamber of Commerce Business Awards event, and I was up for one of the awards and I did not win, but I still take it. I'm still very, very honored to have been nominated for the category. And then at the awards, our San Leandro Scholarship Foundation did win the award. And so they were honored that night. And going on from the Scholarship Foundation, I want to put a plug in that reminder that Christian Rodriguez Scholarship, any of you that there's still time to donate. Any of you that want to donate, just give me a check, money. It's all goes to the Scholarship Foundation in the name of Christian, and will be used. If we get enough money, we'll keep it for next year as well. So that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Trustee Toledo.
I
It was a great meeting today. I'm really glad that we made a decision for the renaming of Wilson Elementary to now be Hvac Elementary. And also, because Teacher Appreciation Week was last week, we didn't get to formally celebrate you all, but thank you so much for all of your hard work. And special shout out to Mr. Kavanaugh, who actually happened to be my brother's elementary school teacher, which was 10 years before I attended elementary school. So that's a really long time ago, and congratulations to him. And another congratulations to Mr. Nichols and the yearbook team as well for designing that amazing yearbook and getting recognized for it as well. And happy Mother's Day. I know that it was Sunday, but it's also today in specific countries in Latin America. So yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Trustee Sheridan.
I too want to acknowledge all of the teachers. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week. I also had the opportunity to attend the State of the City meeting. It was nice to be back in person after a brief hiatus due to COVID. And I'm also looking forward to being back in person for the elementary open houses this Thursday night. Be exciting to get back in the schools and meet with the teachers and principals and see some of the work from the students in these schools. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Tate.
Either, but I do want to share appreciation for the teachers. And this is a month of celebrations. I want to acknowledge our very own Ms. Mayfield for Professional Administratives Day. We appreciate all you do for us. You always take care of us, so we appreciate that.
She's the best.
Yes, she is. And I'm just grateful and, happy. I'll be traveling this week, and I've been doing a lot of traveling. So, I'm hoping everybody has a safe week and continue. We're almost at the end of the road for this year. It's gone by pretty quickly. So I'm just grateful and appreciative that we are moving forward and much success. So, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Oshinsky.
I too want to give a shout out to all the teachers, but I would definitely want to acknowledge one in particular that we got an email from this week, Miss Lydia from McKinley, with all that's going on in Florida and DeSantis saying that it's a parent's job to discuss sexuality with a child. I say, poo. Ms. Lydia wrote, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just a little excerpts. While we were in COVID shelter in place, Zooming our classrooms and communicating electronically, a fifth grader asked to stay on after everyone had left. She asked me what she could do. Her mom would yell at her when she talked about liking girls. She was on her way to Bancroft and didn't know what to expect. Would she have friends, find others like her? So what did Miss Lydia do? She started a Rainbow Club. She got a grant. She was awarded that grant and she started a Rainbow Club, which I think is an amazing idea. She said our final meetup is on May the 25th, is a Wednesday for McKinley, Bancroft, and high school Rainbow Clubs together at McKinley for pizza, craft making, a talking circle, and fun games. We're inviting you to noon to 1:30 with the older students walking over to McKinley on the back lawn. We need adult monitors for the 6 to 8 person talking circles, younger students asking the older students, what's it like in high school and middle school, and how can I express myself and be safe? What a great way to circumvent a law that states you can't talk about sexuality, but yet it could be peer to peer talking about that. I think it's a great, and it just shows the level of professionals we have here in San Leandro. And I'm just really proud of Ms. Lydia for what she's done.
Great, thank you. I have a few things. So I'm looking forward to presenting at Career Day next week. That's going to be really awesome to get in person, get into a couple of classrooms and talk about my career path and hopefully inspire some folks to join student government, join politics. And of course, I have a couple of things you might want to put on the calendar. ROP is having an in-person Student of the Year celebration. This will be at the Senior Center at 6:30 on May 25th. Should be a really exciting event. Be able to connect with some of our students. And then I would love to invite you all on June 1st at 10 a.m. To come on down here to City Hall and help us raise the Progress Pride flag. City of San Leandro will be with us. I hope to see some of y'all there too. It's just gonna be a great event for us to be able to celebrate our upcoming LGBTQ plus month, which is gonna be great. And on another note, I also had the opportunity to visit some school sites with Trustee Gonzalez and Superintendent McLaughlin. It was nice to get into not only some classrooms, but to walk the halls and see what's going on. Always need that refresher. Let's see. And then the next time we come back for a regular meeting, you'll be looking at a graduate for San Francisco State University. And I only like to say that now, because go Gators, because you have all trustees been a part of this journey. I mean, I went the traditional 4-year path on a 4-year term, which I think is pretty cool. And whether you know it or not, you have been a part of that process. So I thank you very much. Okay. And then we move, well, first, next meeting we have is celebrating school special board meeting. That would be on May 24th at 6:30, I believe. And then 7 o'clock, sorry. And then we move into adjournment. Did you? Okay, good. Then I'll go ahead and do it. Yeah, so tonight, before I ask someone to move, we are going to go ahead and adjourn in memory of Trustee Tate's father, Larry Williams, who had passed away last night. Okay, trustees, a motion to adjourn. Oh, okay, then I moved. And then Trustee Prolas seconded. Please vote. All right, that's 7+1. And before we leave the chambers, please take a moment of silence for Mr. Larry Williams. Thank you, trustees. Have a good evening.